You know that metal box sitting just outside your house? Well, if it could talk, wow, what a story it would tell. A story of these long, brutal summers, of constant battles, and honestly, some pretty desperate calls for help. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the secret life of your air conditioner. So, what's it really up against? Let's dive in and take a closer look. All right, so think about it for a second. What's the hardest working appliance in your home? I mean, really the hardest working. Your fridge? Yeah, it works hard. Your oven? For sure. But there's this one unsung hero, right? It puts in way more hours under way more stress than pretty much anything else. Yup, it's that box, your outdoor AC unit. And I know it might just look like a simple box with a fan, but trust me, it's a frontline soldier. It's in a relentless war to keep you comfortable, and it's fighting on a battlefield that is way more hostile than you'd ever guess. So to really understand this battle, we're going to go to ground zero, Mesquite in North Texas. I mean, the environment here, it pushes these machines to their absolute limits. It's the perfect case study, a perfect window into the kind of pressure your own system might be facing, no matter where you live. Just think about the sheer endurance this thing needs. We're talking 9 months a year. 9 months. These units are just running hard. From the heat of May all the way through a sweltering September, there is literally no break. It's a marathon, not a sprint, and you better believe that constant demand takes a heavy, heavy toll. But you know, it's not just the long hours. That's only part of the story. Your AC is under this constant assault from invisible enemies. I'm talking about forces in the environment itself that are just quietly working to degrade, damage, and ultimately destroy your system from the outside in. Okay, so enemy number one. The most obvious one, of course, is the heat. Just brutal heat. I mean, when temperatures are regularly hitting 100 degrees, every single component, from the big compressor down to the tiniest electrical switch, is operating under extreme stress. It's literally cooking itself from the inside out, day after day after day. And this has very real consequences. This quote from our source material, it points specifically to parts called capacitors. So what are those? Well, they're the little parts that give the motors the electrical jolt they need to start up, kind of like a spark plug. And they are a super common casualty of this heat. The heat just degrades them so fast that they often need replacing every 3 to 5 years. Think about that. Now, here's an enemy you probably have not thought about, and that's the ground itself. I'm serious. In places like North Texas, the soil is an active threat. It's not stable at all. It's constantly moving, constantly shifting, and it puts the entire HVAC system in a literal bind. So here's how it works. You've got this expansive clay soil, right? It swells up when it's wet and it shrinks when it's dry. And that actually moves the foundation of the house. That tiny movement can stretch, crimp, or even crack those vital copper lines that carry the refrigerant. And at the same time, it can pull apart the seams in your ductwork. And suddenly, all that precious cool air, it's just leaking uselessly into your hot attic. And finally, let's talk about the third big environmental enemy, humidity. See, your air conditioner isn't just cooling the air. That's only half its job. It's also pulling massive amounts of water out of it. And all that moisture, well, it creates the perfect breeding ground for a whole host of other problems. So, a super common result of this is a clogged condensate drain. You see, that dark, damp drain line that's supposed to carry all that water away, it's a perfect home for algae and mold. And that stuff can grow and create a really stubborn blockage. When that happens, the water has nowhere to go. It just backs up. Best case, it trips a switch and shuts your whole system down. Worst case, it overflows and causes some really serious water damage inside your house. So with all these enemies attacking it nonstop, your system doesn't just suffer in silence. It actually sends out distress calls. Think about it. Those weird noises, those strange smells, or those sudden leaks, they aren't just random annoyances. They're literally your system's way of trying to tell you it needs help. So let's think of this as your official translation guide. Every symptom is a specific message. So that musty smell coming from the vents, that could be the mold we were just talking about. And a sudden spike in your energy bill, that's your system basically screaming that it's losing efficiency and working way too hard to keep up. All right, so sooner or later, pretty much every homeowner faces the big one, the big question. Your system is failing, and you have to decide, do you sink more money into repairing this old unit, or is it time to just replace the whole thing? It can feel like a total gamble, but there's actually a pretty simple rule of thumb that can help you figure it out. Okay,
It's called the $5,000 rule, and it is a surprisingly simple little guideline. Here's how it works. You take the estimated cost of the repair, and you multiply it by the age of your system in years. If that number comes out to more than $5,000, then replacement is probably the smarter financial choice in the long run.
Let's just walk through a quick example so you can see it in action. Okay, let's say a repair is going to cost you $600 and your system is, say, 12 years old. You just multiply 600 by 12, and that gives you $7,200. Since that's well over the $5,000 threshold, the rule is basically telling you, hey, it's time to start looking at new systems instead of just patching up this old one. And really, this gets right to the heart of the trade-off, doesn't it? A repair is cheaper today. That's obvious. But you're still left with an older, less efficient unit that, let's be honest, could just fail again pretty soon. A full replacement? Yeah, it costs more up front, but you're getting better energy efficiency, which means lower bills, and you get that priceless peace of mind that comes with a brand new warranty. So look, whether you're in Texas or Toronto, it doesn't really matter. The struggles of that Mesquite air conditioner, they teach us some really universal lessons. The big takeaway is that you don't have to just sit back and wait for a disaster to happen. You can actually become a smarter, more proactive system owner. So here's a simple checklist to help you stay ahead of the game. First, know how old your system is. Remember, in a tough climate like Texas, its lifespan might only be 12 to 15 years. Second, and this is a big one, change those filters. Seriously, it is the single easiest and cheapest thing you can do. Third, schedule that preventive maintenance to catch small problems before they become big ones. And finally, just remember the simple 2-foot rule. Keep the area all around your outdoor unit clear of leaves and junk so it can actually breathe. So at the end of the day, remember this. Your system is always communicating. It speaks a language of clicks, leaks, and hums. It's telling you when it's healthy, when it's struggling, and when it's on the verge of failing. So the only question is, are you listening?